Once upon a time, in an old town on an old street, there stood a very old house. Such a house as you could hardly find nowadays, for it belonged to a gone-by time. It stood in a street, but yet it was not like a townhouse, for though the front opened right out onto the pavement, the back windows looked out upon a beautiful terrace garden. Time indeed seemed to stand still in the house, and the people who inhabited it could not get any older and had outlived the possibility of change. But one day, at last, there did come a change. Late in the dusk of an autumn afternoon, a carriage drove up to the door of the old house.
Welcome, do come in, dear. Let me show you around my lovely home. Come on, no time to dawdle. Don't stand there in the cold. If you'd like to wipe your feet, please. Mind your step and your head. Ceilings are low. Oh, and don't be worried if you see or hear things. Come on, follow me. I'll look after you. On we go.
The props assist the house until the house is built, and then the props withdraw, and adequate, erect, the house supports itself, and cease to recollect the augur and the carpenter. Just such a retrospect hath the perfected life, a past of plank and nail and slowness. Then the scaffolds drop, affirming it a soul.
All houses wherein men have lived and died are haunted houses. Through the open doors the harmless phantoms on their errands glide, with feet that make no sound upon the floors. We meet them at the doorway, on the stair, along the passages they come and go. Impalpable impressions on the air, a sense of something moving to and fro. There are more guests at table than the hosts invited. The illuminated hall is thronged with quiet, inoffensive ghosts, as silent as the pictures on the wall. The stranger at my fireside cannot see the forms I see, nor hear the sounds I hear. He but perceives what is, while unto me all that is been is visible and clear.
I've seen them all come and go. Artists, actors, musicians, you know. I can remember when this was fields, though the only remains are in the cemetery of asparagus, squirrels and poetry, where Beatrix Potter was inspired, walking amongst the graves to conjure her talking animals.
We have a little garden, a garden of our own, and every day we water there the seeds that we have sown. We love our little garden and tend it with such care. You will not find a faded leaf or blighted blossom there.
Some say it's in the air. Some blame the ley lines, but you can't stop actors performing or keep poets from their rhymes. And the neighbours can be noisy.
neighbours never ever had before. Perhaps it's quite unusual that we live in perfect harmony with the Barrington Smiths and Sir Peregrine Black and Lord and Lady Dick down in the cul-de-sac. New neighbours have arrived, we see the lorries here. From Amsterdam it's driven and it's not quite clear how many people moving in. We think they all must live in sin, all tattooed and studded from head to toe. And we wonder how their lorry full of plants will grow. A month has passed, they've started now to renovate. They're building in the basement and they decorate with mirrors everywhere, on the bedroom ceiling and the top of the stairs which lead to the dungeon and the padded cell. And we dread to think what happens, but we know damn well because we listen. Listen to that, the comings and goings on, just listen to that. They make such a terrible noise with their battery operated sex toys, battery operated sex toys. Neighbours, their total lack of modesty, their kinkiness is causing our dear neighbourhood such deep distress, with strange events around full moon, when heavy breathing permeates our sitting room, and they dance around the garden in their birthday suits, while our postman clanks around in chains and thigh-high boots. So we just listen to that. It's sex, drugs, they rock, they roll, just listen to that. We find it distasteful and crude to be living near something so rude, and we have come to the conclusion, with our neighbourly intrusion, we'll just listen and prevaricate. Could move to Harrogate, or join in the debauchery and see what we've been missing. Neighbours.
I must warn you, it can be a bit noisy. What with the traffic and the bands playing down the road, the ideal home, the dogs and the horses, and, of course, the erotic. Whatever next? Folks in rubber, folks in vests, and the neighbours can be such a pest. Do you get out much, dear? Do you get out at all? Doesn't matter what your thing is. Wine or beer or boys or girls, short or tall. The night life's very good here. You'll have a ball.
Wine comes in at the mouth, and love comes in at the eye. That's all we shall know for truth before we grow old and die. I lift the glass to my mouth. I look at you and I sigh.
I watched the boys of England, where they went through mud and water to do appointed things. See, one a steak and one my netting brings, and one comes slowly under a burden bent of ammunition. Though her strength be spent, they carry on under the shadowing wings of death, the ever-present. And hark, one sings, although no joy from the grey skies be lent. Of these the heroes, these, have kept from you the power of primal savagery so long, shall break the devil's legions. These they are, who do in silence what they might boast to do, and in the height of battle, telling song how they do hate and fear the face of war.
Filled with mingled cream and amber, I will drain that glass again. Oh, such hilarious visions clamber through the chamber of my brain. Quaintest thoughts, queerest fancies, come to life and fade away. What care I how time advances? I'm drinking ale today.
Oh, Molly, I've eaten too much pie. I've eaten too much custard. I think I'm gonna die. Perhaps just one banana and one more lollipop. I've got a slice of Eccles cake. And then I'll have to stop. So now, one more, goodbye. One more slice of that. And now, goodbye forever. Oh, but first some bread and jam. And now, goodbye. Goodbye again. Oh, but past the Stilton cheese. And as I slowly fade away. Just one more dinner, please.
The cheese mites asked how the cheese got there, and they broadly debated the matter. The orthodox thought it came from the air, and the heretics said from the platter. Well, they argued it long, and they argued it strong, and I hear they are arguing now. But of all the choice spirits that lived in the cheese, not one of them thought of a cat.
I taste a liquor never brewed, from tankards scooped and curled. Not all the Frankfort berries yield such an alcohol. Inebriate of air am I, and debauchee of dew, reeling through endless summer days from inns of molten blue. Though landlords turn the drunken bee out of the foxglove store, though butterflies renounce their drams, I shall but drink the more, till seraphs sway their snowy hats, and saints to windows run, to see the little tippler leaning against the sun.
It was an evening in November, as I very well remember. I was strolling down the street in drunken pride. But my knees were all a-flutter, and I landed in the gutter, and a pig came up and lay down by my side. Yes, I lay there in the gutter, thinking thoughts I could not utter, when a colleen passing by did softly say, "You can tell a girl who boozes by the company she chooses." And the pig got up and slowly walked away.
strolling so happy down Wallen Green. This gay youth you might have seen, Tomkins and I with his girl between. Oh, what a surprise! I chatted on politics frank and free. Tomkins got angry so speedily. All in a moment he gave to me 2 lovely black eyes. 2 lovely black eyes. Oh, what a surprise! Only for telling a man he was wrong. 2 lovely black eyes.
My latest beau's an actor. He's a most artistic gent. He says he's fond of me because I've got a temperament. And I'm in love with him because he really is so nice. He's got a way with him that you couldn't buy at any price. He makes me feel, so ideal. He's never got much money. He's too generous, I suppose. I always pay the bill whenever out with me he goes. But it's worth the money to sit by him on a chair and hear him order all the best that's on the bill of fare. He is so grand, I hold his hand. My actor man, such a gentlemanly fellow, with a voice so deep and mellow. The way he talks, the way he walks, he really is a treat that can't be beat. He's grand. His actor clothes, his actor pose, and everything about him's idealistic. He lets me pay in such a way. Well, everything he does is so artistic.
Did you ever hear about Cocaine Lil? She lived in Cocaine Town on Cocaine Hill. She had a cocaine dog and a cocaine cat. They fought all night with a cocaine rat. She had cocaine hair on her cocaine head. She had a cocaine dress that was poppy red. She wore a snowbird hat and sleigh-riding clothes. On her coat she wore a crimson poppy rose. Lil went to a snow party one cold night, and the way she sniffed was sure a fright. There was Hophead Mag with Dopey Slim, Kankakee Jane, and Yenshee Jim. Along in the morning, about 3:30, they were all lit up like a Christmas tree. Lil got home and started for bed. Took another sniff, and it knocked her dead. They laid her out in her cocaine clothes. She wore a snowbird hat with a crimson rose. On her headstone, you'll find this refrain. She died as she lived, sniffing cocaine.
Cecily Parsley lived in a pen and brewed good ale for gentlemen. Gentlemen came every day till Cecily Parsley ran away.
Even the drinking dens are artistic. The Finborough Arms has a theatre, and the Troubadour Coffee House a poetry prize. I often see them, the writers, walking by, muttering their verses with a faraway look in their eye.
The east wind blows in the street today. The sky is blue, yet the town looks grey. 'Tis the wind of ice, the wind of fire, of cold despair and of hot desire. which chills the flesh to aches and pains, and sends a fever through all the veins. From end to end with aimless feet, all day long have I paced the street. My limbs are weary, but in my breast stirs the goad of a mad unrest. I would give anything to stay the little wheel that turns in my brain, the little wheel that turns all day, that turns all night with might and main. What is the thing I fear, and why? Nay, but the world is all awry. The wind's in the east, the sun's in the sky. Gas lamps gleam in a golden line. The ruby lights of the hansoms shine, glance, and flicker like fireflies bright. The wind has fallen in the night. Once again the town seems fair, thwart the mist that hangs in the air. But o'er at last my spirit steals a weary peace, peace that conceals within its inner depths a grain of hopes that still shall flower again.
Every rangy sidewalk crack hollyhock in Bordeaux says the same damn thing. Depend on nothing. Nothing to shore you up. Nothing to nourish or validate. Nothing. They rise up over half the doorways in town, coming out of nowhere, staying local, dressed up anyway, posing before the stone walls like florid hookers, 6 feet tall or more, veins displayed, stems clad in starry hairs, flexed petals, powdered with pollen as if to make a point of how privation shouldn't stop you. They say, stand your ground and take it. Take neglect and turn it to your advantage. Turn it to pith and pigment, frill and flush, flashy colors that look ridiculously expensive. Topaz and jet, cochineal, Tyrian purple. Turn it to wantonly arrogant dry fruits not in the business of attracting anything, because screw that. Take nothing. Oh, nothing. Come out on top. Present your proof of concept ahead of schedule and under budget. Live on your own terms like that, and there's nothing anyone can do, though they will want to. Because once you need nothing, you will scare people. You will make them want to cut you. But here's the thing. Being hollow doesn't really make you stronger. But it does make you harder to bend. And a structure built on nothing is near impossible to bring down.
Green is the plane tree in the square. The other trees are brown. They droop and pine for country air. The plane tree loves the town. Here from my garret pane, I mark the plane tree bud and blow, shed her recuperative bark, and spread her shade below. Among the branches in and out, the city breezes play. The dung fog wraps her round about. Above, the smoke curls grey. Others the country take for choice, and hold the town in scorn, but she has listened to the voice on city breezes born.
souls of poets dead and gone, what Elysium have ye known? Happy field or mossy cavern, choicer than the Mermaid Tavern.
At the club one evening, Jones was telling all his pals how much he hated girls, despised their golden curls. "You wouldn't catch me with a girl, you bet your life," said he. "Girls possess no charm for me." Then one chap there at Jones began to leer, picked up his cane and said to him, "Come here, hold your hand out, you naughty boy. Hold your hand out, you naughty boy. Last night, in the pale moonlight, I saw you with a nice girl in the park. You were strolling, full of joy, and you told her you'd never kissed a girl before. Oh. Hold your hand out, you naughty boy. Hold your hand out, you naughty boy." "I saw you."
Yes, it is a great place to live if you like music, especially around the old exhibition centre ground. Do you like the theatre, dear? We've had them all performing here, from the stars of Rotten Music Hall to Buffalo Bill. And there's a lovely lady, Katerina Pratton, not too far away, who taught the Royals guitar. And when she plays, how our spirits are raised.
For him who struck thy foreign string, I ween this heart has ceased to care. Then why dost thou such feelings bring to my sad spirit, old guitar? It is as if the warm sunlight in some deep glen should lingering stay when clouds of storm or shades of night hath wrapped the parent orb away. It is as if the glassy brook should image still its willows fair, though years ago the woodman's stroke lay low in dust their dryad hair. Even so, guitar, thy magic tone hath moved the tear and waked the sigh, hath bid the ancient torrent moan, although its very source is dry.
Twilight, and a breeze blows brick dust over rubble, twanging a pile of twisted metal. Discarded paper stirs like the faint rustle of applause, and a loose wheel rolls, murmuring across the muddy ground. A 1, 2, 3, 4. Lights dim back to black, but a bright beam casts a warm circle, catching a crooked pile of wooden boards. Dusk gasps in anticipation as the air hums my generation. Or perhaps it's only the night watchman, torch in hand and guitar still rocking in memory as the rain drums tinsel. This empty place once held the world. People poured like water, eager for a glimpse of the ideal. Medals were lost and won here, dreams conceived, where Buckskin Bill captured the crowd within the orb of his lasso. The wind whips up a breeze that whispers fragments of forgotten tunes. I will always love you, though I get no satisfaction. Car headlights flash like camera bulbs, glinting on the remnants of railings, and a stray gust sends splinters in somersaults, wrestling as they punch the air and turn to stardust. The wheel stops, shudders, falls with an echoing chord. And in the vanishing light, ghosts gather to weep their goodbyes. One takes up a guitar and starts to play, and they all sing together how they never meant to cause us any sorrow. As the rain pours purple over the dead land.
Somewhere there waiteth in this world of ours for one lone soul another lonely soul, each choosing each through all the weary hours, and meeting strangely at one sudden goal. Then blend they, like green leaves with golden flowers, into one beautiful and perfect whole, and life's long night is ended, and the way lies open onward to eternal day.
There came a ghost to Margaret's door, with many a grievous groan, and aye he tirled at the pin, and answer made she none. Is that my father Philip, or is it my brother John, or is it my true love Willie from Scotland new come home? 'Tis not thy father Philip, nor yet thy brother John, but 'tis thy true love Willie from Scotland new come home. O dear Margaret, O sweet Margaret, I prithee speak to me. Give me thy faith and troth, Margaret, as I give it to thee. Thy faith and troth thou'st never get, nor yet will I thee lend, until you take me to yon kirk and wed me with a ring. My bones are buried in yon kirkyard afar beyond the sea, and 'tis but my spirit, Margaret, that is now speaking to thee. Now she has kilted her robes of green a piece below her knee, and all the live-lang winter night the dead corpse followed she. Is there any room at your head, Willie, or any room at your feet, or any room at the side, Willie, wherein that I may creep? There's no room at my head, Margaret, there's no room at my feet, there's no room at the side, Margaret, my coffin's made sae meet. Then up and crew the red cock, and up and crew the grey. 'Tis time, my dear Margaret, that you were going away. No more the ghost to Margaret said, but with a grievous groan he vanished in a cloud of mist and left her all alone. Oh, stay, my only true love, stay! Constant Margaret cried. Wan grew her cheeks. She closed her een, stretched her soft limbs, and died.
He's gone, and all our plans are useless indeed. We'll walk no more on Cotswold, where the sheep feed quietly and take no heed. His body that was so quick is not as you knew it on Severn River under the blue, driving our small boat through. You would not know him now. But still he died nobly, So cover him over with violets of pride, purple from seven side. Cover him soon with thick-set masses of memoried flowers. Hide that red wet thing that I must somehow forget.
My heart makes songs on lonely roads to comfort me while you're away, and strives with lovely sounding words its crowded tenderness to say. Glittering in the forward dark, your face I see, with pride, with pain, so that one time I did desire never to see that face again. But I am glad that love has come, to bind me fast and try my worth. For love's a powerful lord, and gives his friends dominion over the earth.
Yes, I've had a lot of writers here. That Ivor Gurney, he went to the war, lovely fella. But oh, the terrible things he saw. They feel deeply, don't they, poets? And fall hard when they love. Romantic. Like John Keats for Frances Linden. Fanny Brawn, that was. Though in the end she married another man, of course.
I died for beauty, but was scarce adjusted in the tomb, when one who died for truth was lain in an adjoining room. He questioned softly, why I failed. For beauty, I replied, and I for truth. Themself are one, we brethren are, he said. And so, as kinsmen met a night, we talked between the rooms, until the moss had reached our lips and covered up our names.
Oh, dearest love, sweet home of all my fears, and hopes, and joys, and panting miseries. Tonight, if I may guess, thy beauty wears a smile of such delight, as brilliant and as bright, as when with ravished, aching, vassal eyes, lost in a soft amaze, I gaze. Ah, if you prize my subdued soul above the poor, the fading, brief pride of an hour, let none profane my holy sea of love, or with a rude hand break the sacramental cake. Let none else touch the just new-budded flower. If not, may my eyes close, love, on their last repose.
These are the letters which Endymion wrote to one he loved in secret and apart.
And now the brawlers of the auction mart bargain and bid for each poor blotted note, aye, for each separate pulse of passion quote the merchant's price. I think they love not art who break the crystal of a poet's heart, that small and sickly eyes may glare and gloat. Is it not said that many years ago in a far eastern town some soldiers ran with torches through the midnight and began to wrangle for mean raiments, and to throw dice for the garments of a wretched man, not knowing the god's wonder or his woe.
On a tree by a river, a little tomtit sang, "Willow, titwillow, titwillow." And I said to him, "Dicky bird, why do you sit singing, willow, titwillow, titwillow?" "Is it weakness of intellect, birdie?" I cried, "or a rather tough worm in your little inside?" With a shake of his poor little head, he replied, "Oh, willow, titwillow, titwillow." He slapped at his chest as he sat on the bough, singing, "Willow, titwillow, titwillow." A cold perspiration bespangled his brow. "Oh, willow, titwillow, titwillow." He sobbed and he sighed, and the gurgle he gave, and he threw himself into the billowy wave. And an echo arose from the suicide's grave. "Oh, willow, titwillow, titwillow."
Now I feel that I'm sure that my name isn't Willow, titwillow, titwillow. That was blighted affection that made him exclaim, "Oh, willow, titwillow, titwillow." And if you remain callous and odorate, I shall perish as he did, and you will know why. Though I probably shall not exclaim as I die, "Oh, willow, titwillow, titwillow."
They will keep singing Gilbert and Sullivan tunes, though I'll tell them, till I'm blue in the face, Mr. Sullivan's not here. The Queen, Victoria, wouldn't have it. He's visiting St. Paul's. He's not in this place. Have you been to the cemetery yet? Oh, you must. They're all in there, except Mr. Sullivan, of course. But Jean's there, lovely Jean Ingelow. You may not have heard of her, though she should have been our First Lady Laureate. Even Tennyson said so.
Out from the city's dust and roar you wandered through the open door, paused at a plaything pale and spade across a tiny hillock laid. Then noted on your dexter side some moneyed mourners, love or pride, and so, beyond a hawthorn tree, showering its rain of rosy bloom alike on low and lofty tomb, you came upon it, suddenly. How strange! The very grass's growth around it seemed forlorn and loath. The very ivy seemed to turn askance that wreathed the neighbour urn. The slab had sunk, the head declined, and left the rails a wreck behind. No name. You traced a 6, a 7, part of affliction and of heaven. And then in letters sharp and clear you read, "O irony austere, though lost to sight, to memory dear."
A cottager leaned whispering by her hives, telling the bees some news as they lit down and entered one by one their waxen town. Larks, passioning, hum for their brooding wives, and all the sunny hills where heather thrives, they satisfied with peace. A stately crown of trees enring the upper headland brown, and reedy pools, wherein the moorhen dies, glittered and gleamed. A resting place for light. They that were bred here love it. But they say, we shall not have it long. In 3 years' time, 100 pets will cast out fires. Down yon still glen their smoke shall trail its way, and the white ash lie thick in lieu of rain.
An empty sky, a world of heather, purple of foxglove, yellow of broom. We two among them, wading together, shaking out honey, treading perfume. Crowds of bees are giddy with clover. Crowds of grasshoppers skip at our feet. Crowds of larks at their matins hang over, thanking the Lord for a life so sweet. Flusheth the rise with her purple favour, gloweth the cleft with her golden ring. Twixt the two, brown butterflies waver, lightly settle, and sleepily swing. We two walk till the purple dieth, and short dry grass underfoot is brown, but one little streak at a distance lieth, green like a ribbon to prank the down.
Nu, forbid thought this common toad was worthy of sic prose. Is neither bonny, blithe, nor sweet, this humble beast with love to loathe. Fin out of his nest, he proudly loused a gallivant among the rest. He gathers round the dappit pool to find his mate, his only quest. With what he plooks and copper in, he's nae pretty prince, alas. But bonny, blithe, and sweet he is to mony a lonely toady lass.
If you were my wife, I'd poison you.
No, you wouldn't. I'd do it myself.
And so you see, in the Women's Civil War, the dear men of my country are discovering it is absolutely impossible to deal with it. You cannot locate it, and you cannot stop it. Put them in prison, they said, that'll stop it. But it didn't stop it at all.
Before I came to Holloway, it was not cold, nor illness, nor harshness that I feared. Oh, stay. It was the deathly stillness. Inside it's bang with the supper, or it's dinner, or your apple, or it's pass out please, it's to exercise, or pass along to chapel. 'Tis close the door there, pass out please. The clattering with the rations, baths, turning locks and clinking keys, and any applications. And if you think you're safely in, they must have done their clapping. It's governor, visiting magistrates, the chaplain, doctor, matron. You hear them chopping, stoking too, and really all their clamour breaks up the peace far more than you or I with stone or hammer. Before I came to Holloway, it was not cold, nor illness, nor harshness that I feared. Stay. It was deathly stillness.
British government has brought in more stringent laws to deal with this agitation than it ever found necessary during the history of agitation in my country. And still,
the ordinary law has not sufficed to curb insurgent women. They have said to us, government rests upon force. The women haven't force, so they must submit. Well, we are showing them government does not rest upon force at all. It rests upon consent. As I was sticking handles on Prince Albert's prim anatomy, a green-faced naval colonel friend came waltzing round the back of me, and as I'd often flown with him, I thought it quite absurd to let him just dance on again without a single word. I hailed him rather noisily by tweaking my suspenders and asked if he remembered if I used to be a friend of his. He said he did with ecstasy and warmly shook my feet, at which I offered him a half-smoked harvest mouse to eat. He hailed a sliding staircase which went up into the underground. We missed one train quite easily, but caught it as it turned around. We lay down on the ceiling and with quite undue contempt tore up the blue advertisement for smell-less onion scent. But as we talked, the Major shaved in a far-off pomposity, and turning with a flaming eye on me, which froze me with ferocity. "You're not the man you was," he says, and slid under the door, leaving a smell of camembert and a lucky monkey's paw. No power on earth can govern a human being, however feeble, without his or her consent.
Those that's passed on are ear and spirit, because their spirits are so strong. Like Emmeline and Jean and Francis, and even some of the men have come along with them.
I heard the old men say, everything alters, and one by one we drop away. They had hands like claws, and their knees were twisted like the old thorn trees by the waters. I heard the old men say, all that's beautiful drifts away, like the waters.
In a solitude of the sea, deep from human vanity and the pride of life that planned her, stilly couches she. Steel chambers late the pyres of her salamandrine fires. Cold currents thrid and turn to rhythmic tidal lyres. Over the mirrors, meant to glass the opulent, the sea worm crawls, grotesque, slimed, dumb, indifferent. Jewels, in joy designed to ravish the sensuous mind, lie lightless, all their sparkles bleared and black and blind. Dim, moon-eyed fishes near gaze at the gilded gear and query, what does this vaingloriousness down here? While was fashioning this creature of cleaving wing, the immanent will that stirs and urges everything, prepared a sinister mate for her, so gaily great, a shape of ice, for the time far and dissociate. And as the smart ship grew, in stature, grace, and hue, in shadowy, silent, distant, grew the iceberg too, until the spinner of the years said, now, and each one hears, and consummation comes, and jars 2 hemispheres.
There's a breathless hush in the close tonight. 10 to make, and a match to win. Bumping pitch and blinding light, an hour to play, and the last man in. But it's not for the sake of a ribboned coat, or the selfish hope of a season's fame, but his captain's hand on his shoulder smote. Play up, and play the game. The sand of the desert is sodden red, red with the wreck of a square that broke. The Gatling's jammed and the colonel's dead, and the regiment blind with dust and smoke. The river of death has brimmed its banks, and England's far and honour a name. But the voice of a schoolboy rallies the ranks. Play up, and play the game. This is the word. But year by year, while in her place the school is set, every one of her sons must hear, and none that hears it dare forget. This they all, with a joyful mind, bear through life like a torch in flame, and falling, fling to the host behind. Play up, and play the game.
There's John Wisden. He's mad for the cricket. And Gustav Wolfe. His lot built the big ship that sank. And Henry Cole, old King Cole, they called him. We've him to thank for the Crystal Palace and the V&A. But before you shout hip hip hooray, take a moment to think of the Empire, umpire. Who the heroes were and why, who the heroes are today.
I conceive it to be the duty of every educated person closely to watch and study the time in which he lives, and, as far as in him lies, to add his humble mite of individual exertion to further the accomplishment of what he believes Providence to have ordained. Nobody, however, who has paid any attention to the particular features of the present era will doubt for a moment that we are living in a period of most wonderful transition, which tends rapidly to the accomplishment of that great end to which indeed all history points, the realization of the unity of all mankind.
I've heard folk say, as those that live in glass houses should not throw stones. And I thought at the time it were a very silly saying, as I'd never seen a glass house, and I didn't believe there were such things. Oh. But now, I was standing in one, and staring with all the een in my head, and wondering how folk could doubt there being such a thing as fairyland after a seat of this sort. It might be a field with a glass roof, and so full of grand things and grand folk. Don't stop staring about me, Sam said, getting hold of me arm, but come on! And it were like waving broad work, pick after pick, putting that great crowd together that stood before us, and a grand carpet filled with flowers, all nodding their heads as natural as any garden in May. And them flowers were women. While I'm talking, A trumpet sounded, and there such a flutter in that big posy as I've never seen. And it fairly lifted me off the ground like a balloon to be put among the curiosities of the Crystal Palace. And I don't believe I touched the floor as long as it lasted.
Old Hickle was a merry old soul, and a merry old soul was he. He called for his pipe, and he called for his bow, and he called for his fiddlers three. Every fiddler had a very fine fiddle, and a very fine fiddle had he. Tweedledum, tweedledee, tweedle-diddle-diddle-dee, tweedle-diddle-diddle-diddle-diddle-dee,
Oh, King Cole was a merry old soul, and a merry old soul was he. A literary gent called Austin Dobson had a friend we knew as Lewis, who often came to stay. Now, he was a funny man, always left us grinning like Cheshire cats long after he'd gone away.
How shall I be a poet? How shall I write in rhyme? You told me once the very wish partook of the sublime. Then tell me how. Don't put me off with your another time. The old man smiled to see him, to hear his sudden sally. He liked the lad to speak his mind enthusiastically, and thought, there's no humdrum in him, nor any shilly-shally. And would you be a poet before you've been to school? Ah, well, I hardly thought you so absolute a fool. First learn to be spasmodic. A very simple rule. For first, you write a sentence, then chop it very small, then mix the bits and sort them out just as they chance to fall. The order of the phrases makes no difference at all.
'Tis 20 years since carols art, with topsy-turvy magic, sent Alice wandering through a part, half comic and half tragic. Enchanting Alice, black and white has made your deeds perennial, and naught save chaos and old night can part you now from Tenniel.
As you sit there at your ease, O Marquise, and the men flock round your knees, thick as bees, mute at every word you utter, servants to your least frill flutter, bella Marquise. As you sit there, growing prouder, and your ringed hands glance and go, and your fan's frou-frou sounds louder, and your beaux yeux flash and glow. Ah, you use them on the painter, as you know, for the Sieur Larose spoke fainter, bowing low, thanked Madame and Heaven for mercy, that each sitter is not Circe, or at least he told you so. Growing proud, I say, and prouder to the crowd that come and go, dainty deity of powder, fickle queen of fop and bow. As you sit where lustres strike you, sure to please, do we love you most, or like you, bella Marquise?
That civilization may not sink, its great battle lost. Quiet the dog, tether the pony to a distant post,
Our Master Caesar is in the tent, where the maps are spread. His eyes fixed upon nothing, a hand under his head. Like a long-legged fly upon the stream, his mind moves upon silence.
Yes, I'm proud of all my tenants who've come here from around the world. That's Mr. Yates. Now, he was Irish. Dear lady, call me Jack, he said. Lovely paintings. Very intense, poetic brother with glasses. Never came back. He talked a lot about the dead. But there's this one great musician, James Bowie. James Bowie always stays. Best banjo player in the world, they tell me. Before you go, you really have to hear him play.
Oh, there's lots of care and trouble in this world to swallow down. And all sorrow's pretty lively in her way of getting round. Yet there's times when I forget 'em, aches and pains and sorrows all. And it's when I take the evening, my old banjo from the world. Then my family gathers round me in the fading of the light, as I strike the strings of triumph, if they always tuned right. And it seems we're so nigh heaven we can hear the angels sing, when the music from that banjo sets my cabin all ring. Now the blessed little angels up in heaven, we are told, don't do nothing all their lifetime except play on harps of gold. Now I think it'd be more heaven-like if we'd hear some music fall from a real old-fashioned banjo like that one upon the wall.
Her feet beneath her petticoat, like little mice, stole in and out as if they feared the light. And oh, she dances such a way no sun upon an Easter day is half so fine a sight.
Side by side through the streets at midnight, roaming together through the tumultuous night of London in the miraculous April weather. Roaming together under the lamplight, day's work over. How the spring calls to us here in the city, calls to the heart from the heart of a lover. Cool to the wind blows fresh in our faces, cleansing, entrancing. After the heat and the fumes and the footlights, where you dance, and I watch you dancing. Good it is to be here together, good to be roaming, even in London, even at midnight, lover-like in a lover's gloaming. You the dancer, and I the dreamer, children together, wandering lost in the night of London in the miraculous April weather.
Once, in a finesse of fiddles, found I ecstasy, in a flash of gold heels on the hard pavement. Now see I, that warmth the very stuff of poesy. Oh God, make small the old star-eaten blanket of the sky, that I may wrap it round me and in comfort lie.
They have watered the street. It shines in the glare of lamps, cold white lamps, and lies like a slow-moving river barred with silver and black. Cabs go down it. One, then another. Between them, I hear the shuffling of feet. Tramps doze on the window ledges. Night walkers pass along the sidewalk. The city is squalid and sinister. with its silver-barred street in the midst, slow-moving, a river leading nowhere. Opposite my window, the moon cuts clear and round through the plum-coloured night. She cannot light the city. It is too bright. It has white lamps and glitters coldly. I stand at the window and watch the moon. She's thin and lustreless, but I love her. I know the moon, and this is an alien city.
It's getting late, but I won't turn the light on. You never know who's watching at the end of the day. In the midst of life, we are in death, they say.
Alluring, earth-seducing, with high conceits, is the sunset that reigns at the end of westward streets. A sudden flaring sky, troubling strangely the passer-by with visions alien to long streets. A frolic of crimson is the spreading glory of the sky. Heaven's jocund maid, flaunting a trailed red robe along the fretted city roofs about the time of homeward-going crowds. A vain maid, lingering, loath to go.
Remember me when I am gone away, gone far away into the silent land, when you could no more hold me by the hand, nor I half turn to go, yet turning stay. Remember me when no more day by day you tell me of our future that you planned. Only remember me. You understand it will be late to counsel then or pray. Yet if you should forget me for a while and afterwards remember, do not grieve. For if the darkness and corruption leave a vestige of the thoughts that once I had, better by far you should forget and smile than that you should remember and be sad.
So now you've had a look around, we should get down to practicalities. The rent's, well, it's negotiable, paid in advance. The company's congenial with song, poetry and dance, though the spirits here won't speak to you unless you really want them to. You look a little pale, dear. Do you not feel well? Don't run like that, you'll fall in the gloom. Be careful. What a hurry. Here, let me get the door for you. So do you think you'd like to take the route? Oh well, ta-ra for now. Come back soon.
I just got here through Paris from the sunny southern shore. I to Monte Carlo went just to raise my winter's rent. Dame Fortune smiled upon me as she's never done before, and I've now such lots of money, I'm a gent. Yes, I've now such lots of money, I'm a gent, as I Walk along the Bois de Boulogne with an independent air. You can hear the girls declare, "Isn't he a millionaire?" You can hear them sigh and hope to die. You can see them wink the other eye at the man who broke the bank at Monte Carlo.